you so much, and thank you for conveying all of this energy. And today we have music, so it's a genuine day of celebration of human rights. Of course, my dear colleague, Commissioner Karen Gomez-Lumpi, my dear colleague also, the Ambassador of Germany, Anke Reinfeldstuhl, and other members of the Commission on Human Rights, Melissa Gascon, and I discovered that many of the directors of the Commission on Human Rights are also genuine moderators and master of ceremony. So this is excellent. So we have a quite dynamic Commission on Human Rights. So let me just first congratulate the Commission on Human Rights in organizing this Human Rights Consciousness Week. That I think that with this event we are culminating this successful week, and I think that it has been inspiring for all of that by the fact that we have the participation of members of the civil society organization, other UN agencies also. So I think it's a collective effort despite all the restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic. As we know, the global theme for Human Rights Day this year is equality. And equality is also joined by a tagline that says, all humans are equal. I think that this is very, very curious, very strange, that with the thousands and thousands of years of humanity, and with all the gallery of thinkers, philosophers, in 2021, we are still recalling that all humans are equal. So I think that this is demonstrating that this is a complex, very complex battle that requires a permanent fight. This principle of equality is based on the notion that every human being has the same worth and therefore the same right to a dignified life. Equality has the power to help break cycles of poverty. It has the potential to allow quality education for all young people in the Philippines and worldwide. It makes societies stronger by allowing all to contribute their skills and talents, and it is the opposite of marginalization and discrimination, which, as we know, these are often the root causes of conflict. This year, the world continues to face challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and we know here in the Philippines that we have some 50,000 persons have died in the country. 50,000 persons that have died in the Philippines, and each a person in their own rights, with families, with friends and colleagues. And this pandemic has emphasized something that in fact we already knew, that in order to address global challenges, of course we need knowledge, we need resources, but there is something fundamental that we know in order to face all of these challenges. That is solidarity. And solidarity not just within countries, but also between countries. Equal access to vaccines, information, and universal health care are critical not only for individuals, but collectively. Likewise, measures taken by governments to protect people from the virus must take into consideration the impact on the most vulnerable and seek to address pre-existing inequalities. To speak about equality, one must speak of gender equality. And I'm delighted to see this brilliant idea of the Commission on Human Rights. They call it Right the Right. Where is carrying the jeepney? Where is the jeepney here? This is a brilliant idea. Ending violence against women and girls is a critical element of gender equality, which the UN Secretary General has called, and this is extremely important, if we address gender equality, this is the single most effective measure we can take to create more stable, peaceful, resilient, and prosperous communities and society. And the Jeepney campaign reminds me of another bus campaign. I think that all of you remember the story of Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, the black seamstress who sparked the civil rights movement in the United States when she refused to give her seat to a white man. But did you know that the actions that transformed the spark into a fundamental change, in fact, they were based on years of strategizing and planning. So in fact, it is the ongoing work of thousands of unnamed activists that keeps the flame alive. Therefore, dear colleagues and dear friends, I wish to pay tribute to the many human rights defenders who continue their challenging work in all parts of the Philippines. Indigenous rights workers and organizations of persons with disabilities, those who advocate for labor rights, for freedom of speech, for environment rights, for the rights of prisoners, and the rights to health, food, and education for all in civil society, in the Commission on Human Rights, and in the government. The UN, and I'm representing the UN today, the UN stands with you in your advocacy, and we continue to call for your protection. This year, as you know, the UN in the Philippines embarked for the first time on a joint program on human rights. This joint program highlights the commitment to work together with a broad range of actors towards the promotion and protection of human rights with the support of development partners. This UN joint program on human rights that in fact is emerging from a resolution of the UN Human Rights Council is expected to find solutions to complex challenges on the human rights agenda. To be frank, this is not an easy task, but these challenges cannot be resolved by just training and expertise alone. Resolving them requires leadership, courage, and engagement. If you ask me what is the main pillar of this human rights program, without doubt, I will say the main pillar is inclusivity. Inclusivity enhances the legitimacy of the program and also makes institutions and partners accountable for the expected result. So I'm very glad, dear partners and colleagues, that we are in the process of setting up the various technical working groups, and also very shortly, we will set up a steering committee of this UN joint program. And we will have the participation of 3 representatives from the civil society organization. I would like to also thank, because we are not alone in this exercise, I would like to also thank the governments of Australia and the government of Norway for their generous and rapid contribution to the UN joint program. They are the first supporters, and I hope that other members of the international community will join us very soon. As we enter into an electoral period, The United Nations urged all parties to ensure that human rights are respected in the context of elections. The UN will also continue to support domestic initiatives to strengthen accountability for killings and other serious human rights violations and abuses. Another important milestone next year, and I hope to work very closely with the Commission on Human Rights, will be the review of the Philippines in the context of the Universal Periodic Review. And importantly, the UN will also continue to promote human rights through the implementation of humanitarian, development, and peace initiatives that are part of our UN roadmap. You know that we updated the cooperation framework with the government. We call it the UN Socioeconomic and Peace-Building Framework. Let me, dear colleagues and partners, let me end this intervention with paying tribute to Chairman Jose Luis, or as we know, Chito Gascon. He remains a shining light of the human rights movement in this country. And a great inspiration to me personally. I have to thank the role of Chito Gascon in all of these negotiations around the UN Joint Program. So thank you, Chairman Chito, for your inspiration. We will keep pounding the rock. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat din, Sir Gustavo Gonzalez. Thank you so much.